He's a bass player, full-time bass player for the Esquire's band, and his responsibilities as secretary are going to be to handle all the paperwork. And God, you know we need that. If you have VIP card problems, that's the man we're going to talk to. He's going to enroll new members. If you have problems at addresses and you're not getting the mail, then please see Jimmy. He's the man for the job. At Treasurer, Mr. Garden DeSoto. At Treasurer, him and his wife Barbara live in Metairie. They own 2 major record shops in New Orleans, Memory Lane and Acorn Records. Gordon's responsibilities are for the securement of all the dollars for NOMAA. He knows what's coming in, what's coming out. Gordon is the kind of guy that, let's see how we can say this nicely. If Will Rogers and Dale Carnegie were in this room, they would probably slap Gordon in the face. That's the personality we got here. But on the serious side, Gordon watches every nickel that comes in. He's responsible for it, and he does it as good as anybody we've ever had at Treasurer. Our new Director of Sales and Entertainment is Billy Bell and his wife Roseanne. Billy lives in Chalmette. He is the proprietor of a group called Billy Bell and the Famous Dominoes. His responsibilities are to secure all of the spotlight bands during 1991, the bands that we're going to feature in all our activities. And also as Director of Sales, he is directly responsible and the man that handles all the t-shirts, the caps, and everything that goes at the sales that generate extra sales for us. The site coordinator and public relations man for 1991 is Bobby Cure. Bobby and his wife Lynn are here. And I got to tell you, I'm a little bit jealous of Bobby Cure. You know, fellas, what you and I used to do on the weekend for a little extra money, Bobby Cure does it full time, and he's probably the most successful guy at this table doing it. He does it well. His responsibilities are to locate site locations, the places that we're going to have our dances, and we got a nice announcement to make about that a little later on. And he also is going to assist in public relations and getting the word out for the dancers. The legal counsel is Gerald Laborde. Cherie is right there with he is and he is a Gretna resident. He is the man that reviews and advises all of the legal directions that NOMAA will take in 1991 and thereafter. Public relations and stage director positions are now assigned to Buck Baker. Buck is here with his wife Janice. Buck is an Allstate Insurance, he's on the Allstate Insurance team, he's a West Bank resident. Buck is pro-West Bank resident. I mean, I got to tell you something. We had one hell of a funny episode. Last week we were preparing for this meeting, and when this board meets, we like to eat in a nice place, we like to review and do our homework. Last week, Buck had us eating at the WYAT on 5th Street in Gretna. And the food was good too. Buck's in charge of media exposure. He's going to be the man that as you read about the activities that are coming up, he's the guy that's doing it all. He is also the man that replaced Mr. Roland LeBlanc as a stage director. He's going to be the guy that's going to see that every one of you, and we promise in 1991 that every one of you guys are going to get up and play. And he's the man that's going to control the stage. Our Benevolence is now controlled by Alan Reese and his fiancée Peggy are on the end. Alan is a Kenner resident. He follows 2 people and some big shoes to follow. Dave Barrett was the benevolent director prior to him, and prior to him was Eddie Roth. We'll begin the meeting now officially, as you do with all meetings, with the Treasury report. We've got some exciting news to tell you. Garden DeSoto with the Treasury report.
I don't know about exciting, but we're going to try and make it such. As you know, in order for us to be benevolent, we have to raise funds. We do these fundraisers by having hit-and-touch parties. Last year, in 1990, we had 4 such parties. they generated a gross income of $60,294. The expenditure in which to throw these functions came to a total of $26,904. We also had donations by members of this organization, which is private donations of $5,500, which is more than welcome from anybody who wants to donate such monies. Benevolence, we gave out a total of $25,677 last year. $25,607. We now have in our bank account as of December 31st, 1990, a total of $26,435 to which to start this year off. And I think we'll have a very, very good year.
You know, to get that kind of money and to be able to have that money in the bank and give $25,000 away, that's quite an achievement. Let's just spend a moment and kind of review what happened in 1990. It's a fascinating year for us. It was our second year in existence. We began it all in January 1990 at Chalmette Civic Center. We were fortunate enough to get the original nobles, all of the nobles, back together again from 1959 on up. And they came in and played. We put, ladies and gentlemen, 1,775 people in the Chalmette Civic Center and 4 tables. I mean, that's really ridiculous. They raised all kind of hell. It was also the first dance, 1990, that we brought ticket sales up to $10 each. And we've still brought in 1,775 people. January also saw the birth of a new president for us. Eddie Roth took over from Mr. Art Surveyan, and he became president in January 1990. We acquired something new, and maybe a lot of you people are not aware of this. But NOMAA owns a brick at the aquarium, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's put in the honor of all of you. It says New Orleans Musicians Alumni Association. It's in section 2B right at the front. And it's a memorial to all of you, all of your efforts and all of our efforts. In April, we went to the Municipal Auditorium, and that's like everybody's fantasy. A lot of us graduated from Municipal Auditorium, and here we are playing there. We brought in a local acts that had made national and international news. Mr. Franklin Ford was with us. Joe Barry was with us singing his hit songs. In May, we took a busload of guys, and you may not be aware of this, and that's why I wanted to let you know just what NOMAA does all year. We took a busload of guys, went down to Galliano for a Joe Barry benefit. We rented a bus, took approximately 40 musicians down. We came out of that with the help of Gerry Burns there, with a very, very generous donation. We gave Joe Barry approximately $6,200 to help his cause. In July was the big one. We had the biggest event that we'd ever had with NOMAA. We tied in with an international organization called the March of Dimes, and that makes you very credible. The New Orleans Fairgrounds was the site. 2,700 people attended that dance. We gave a $10,000 check to the March of Dimes. We spotlighted the singers of the New Orleans area. We brought in from Baton Rouge, John Fred. We brought Joe Barry again, and Jimmy Elledge, and all of our local people. And we put a $27,000 event on. In October at the fairgrounds, we had our next dance. Over 2,000 people again. We reunited 2 bands. There were actually 3 that spotlighted a band that hadn't been together in 30 years, the New Orleans Counts. They did a fantastic job. Paul Barisco and the Milestones, 25 years since these guys been together. They got up there and they were simply great. They closed the show with this guy who does so well, Bobby Cure. And everybody went home, 2,000 people went home happy again. In November, we had our VIP meeting, and we had some really nice people to attend that. We had and dignitaries. The mayor of Kenner, Aaron Broussard, attended. Mac Rebenak was there. He had his group, and they were in town, and they stopped in to say hello and attended the meeting. Mr. Ellis Paulette, he's here tonight. Mr. Ellis Paulette is an attorney that is recognized all over the world for his ability to handle legal matters with artists and musicians. That's about the year in review. It ended in December. We had 26,000 in the bank. We'd given a lot of money away. There are people that we need to thank for the success of 1990. Let's begin now. Jimmy?
Thank you, Mike. You did okay for your first talk. I was falling asleep. As usual, they always say that, my wife told me to say 2 words, shut up. The people that do so many things for the organization, sometimes nobody knows about it. We thought it'd be very appropriate to recognize some of these folks. And I just want to tell you a couple of things about what this group does. The name of their business is called Landstream Corporation. They deal in business forms, printing, office supplies. They're located in the Kenner area. And if anybody wants their phone number, they do excellent work. But what we don't realize is that for every event that NOMAA has ever put on, you see those nice, beautiful tickets, and they run anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 copies each function. They have done this for NOMAA absolutely stock free and not charged us 1 nickel. And also Landstream, the print. The reason I know, because I've been filling out these VIP cards, and I want to repeat that one more time. Be sure if you don't have a card or you're not getting mail, see me after, and I'll be sure that you do, because everything's logged on a computer. But Landstream, not only do they do the wonderful things with the tickets, and they also print these VIP cards, but they're always early and on schedule, and they're a real asset to this organization, because if you're a business person, I don't have to tell you what it would cost to have that number of tickets with numbered stubs printed. It's a very large amount, and they've done it absolutely free. So we'd like to recognize Don and Cathy Landry for their help and all of the appreciation of this board for a job well done. Would you please come up and accept this plaque from us?
How y'all doing? You know, I'm very proud to be one of the founders of this organization. It started back in May of 1988 at Glenn and Norma May's housewarming party, at which time we moved over to Bootsy and Diane Coquette's home for just a get-together and a lot of fun. And 32 months later, here we are. This organization has grown. It's just unbelievable. And it's due to every one of y'all out there, all your support, all your help, all the musicians and singers. But it doesn't stop there. There's a lot of people that don't play music, don't sing, that give so much support to this organization, and they have to be recognized. And I want to recognize one of them tonight. One of the finest gentlemen, and I mean the nicest guy that I have ever known, really. Mr. Billy Delle. Have a nice round of applause. WWOC Radio, record from the Crypt, my main man. Thank you, Billy. Before I start off, with this recognition, I'd like to say a couple of things. The first thing is, every time we bring in some guest vocalists, we have to hire a band, we have to get a band to back them up. And there's three guys that are always there, and I think that we ought to give them a little round of applause. And it's Donnie, Ronnie, and Barry from the Rhythm Express. That's Donnie Buquette over there. He's always there when we need to. Thank you, Donnie. And also on that show in April with Frankie Ford and Joe Barry, there was a band that performed to back them up, and we didn't get any recognition, and that was the Esquire. So I'm gonna blow my own horn right now. Thank you. We're going to present this to a gentleman. Every time we've called on him, he's never told us no for anything that we need. And I'm going to be with the public relations this year, so I'm going to be calling on you a lot. So I'd like to present this to Mr. Ken Nagel from FM 104. Ken? Okay, the next gentleman, we're going to call is one of the hardest working guys that I know. He helps this group a lot, especially you guys that when y'all start playing at the events, y'all need to listen to some old records and rehearse. So now, Joe Campbell.
They helped out with that. And unfortunately, the man who this goes to is not here tonight, but his wife and son are here. Accepted, and I'd like to call up here now, BeBe and her son Mike. And she has something she wants to present to the club. So come on back here.
Duke loved you very much. You'll have to excuse me. These pictures are from the very beginning.
Well, let me talk. You go ahead. BeBe has been taking pictures of every show Duke and BeBe of the New Orleans Musicians Alumni Association, and she went through her stack and brought all the pictures from all the dancers that they've had along the way, and she wanted to turn them over to the club to be framed and shown to everybody in the future.
As I said before, Duke loved you very much. I have never met someone who was so intense of keeping the New Orleans music alive and making you known. When no one knew who you were, we were playing your records. We would not let the music die. That was his legacy. That was his contribution to this city. And just know that you are known around the country and around the world because of his intenseness. He was my husband, but he was my best friend. And I know what he felt. So always know how he felt for you. If he had his way, every one of you would be superstars. And let's just hope that you keep this going because it's very, very important to this city. We have a heritage that will never be forgotten, no matter what happens or who passes away. And if we could brighten your life just a little bit, our job was well worth it. Thank you, all of you.
it. And I'm that washed-up bass player from the Jokers. I want to tell you that, in my own opinion, we've saved the very best for one of the last. But before I do, I would like to share with you a few remarks that I had with Buck Baker when we sat down to eat supper tonight. And I was telling Buck that how surprising you are to me, all of you. I bounce around a lot, all over the country, taking depositions in my work. And Denver has nothing like you. Atlanta has nothing like you. Pittsburgh has nothing like you. Chicago has nothing like you. You are unique. And I look at you and you surprise me, because I remember when you guys were playing as I was playing 30 years ago, how fiercely competitive you were. And look at you, how you get along so well now, and how you contribute, how you donate so much. I mean, it appalls me. And I wanted to thank you, congratulate you for what you've done here. It is my pleasure tonight, very deep and humble pleasure and privilege, to present an award, 2 awards actually, to a fellow who finished De La Salle in 1963. He's as old as you and me. Did I tell you, by the way, that there are 3 signs of growing old? The first is loss of memory, and the other 2 I can't recall. Anyway, he finished high school in '63. 2 years later, he started in the radio business right here in New Orleans, and he spent 19 years with WTIX. He came to be known, and is known presently, as the Oldies King. And currently, he hosts the Sunday night Oldies party on Oldies 106.7, during which they present live, on-the-air concerts featuring New Orleans artists and groups. The show presently being broadcast at Good Time Charlie's on Williams Boulevard out here in Kenner from 8 to 12 on Sunday nights. He plans on continuing to do some more concerts at this location in the future. He also currently hosts the TV show Real New Orleans on Channel 26. He has presented past, very graciously arranged with his station to give members of our board of directors and our various featured performers hour-long interviews on 106.7 during prime time, featuring those highlighted groups, spotlighted groups, before each of our events, our stand-touch parties. He's also a past member of the NOMAA board of directors, which tells you right offhand he knows how to work. And he has, for many of our shows, been the MC. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause for Mr. Bob Walker, the Oldies King. And I also wish to present to Bob, on behalf of 106.7, our award to Oldies 106.7 in recognition for outstanding support throughout 1990. Keep the music alive. We're your biggest fans. New Orleans Musicians Alumni Association. And to Bob Walker, this is in recognition for outstanding support throughout 1990. Keep the music alive. We're your biggest fans. New Orleans Musicians Alumni Association. Congratulations, Bob. Thank you very much.
I'd like to say just a very brief word here. Mike Ancona will verify that going back as far as 1980, when I used to visit him at Van Village on Airline Highway, I used to try to convince Mike and the Jokers and the other groups through Mike to get back together again and bring back those special times that we all grew up with. We were all in a kind of an age lull at that time where the kids were not quite out of the house, and you know, we had commitments that didn't allow us the free time that we had when we were younger, but now we're a little bit beyond that, and we have the time and the money and the desire to hear all these groups back again. And I just want everybody to know that this has been a labor of love for me. I've always heard that if you do something with yourself and you get a little ahead in your career, that you're supposed to give something back. And I want to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to give back to you a part of my love, and being able to help everybody here in my own little way to get back together and bring back the good times and the good music and the good musicians that we grew up with. Thanks a lot. I love all of y'all. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
I have a big stack of awards here. As you know, in order to perform these functions, we need all the publicity we can get. And people like Mr. Bob Welcker and the recipient of our next award have always come through to help us in these endeavors here. I have in my hand here an award to the Oldies sweetheart, Miss Cherie Smith of WYAT, who has contributed so much of her time and effort to promote New Orleans music. Cherie?
It's always been a pleasure to work with all the people at NOMAA and to help out the cause. As you know, you all listen and you can tell that we dig deep and try to dig down into the pop-stopper age of music. And all of y'all grew up with it, I grew up with it, and there's nothing like it around the world. And you can go anywhere in Europe and Canada and you can hear our music being played. And Benny Grunch was telling me that his new record made charts in Anchorage, Alaska, and in Chicago, and places like that. And everybody just loves it. Cool Gold, which we're affiliated with now, goes out in 38 states, and it goes across into Canada. And we've got more response since we've been affiliated with Cool Gold than anything I've ever seen in my life. I've had people call me from New York and say, wow, you're affiliated with Cool Gold. And they get microwaves to try to pick us up. I said, well, you're not going to do that. We're kind of little for that. Well, gee, why not? You know, it's just fabulous. They say, but you're a part of it. And the Papa Stoppa classics, and surprisingly enough, you wouldn't believe it, Papa Stoppa, the name is known all around the country. It's a phenomenal thing. The people in Phoenix know Papa Stoppa. They even go back as far as Dr. Daddy-O. They know his name. So our heritage is something that's being spread all around the country, all the time, 24 hours a day, and I'm so proud of it. And NOMAA is just one of the reasons that we can do this, because we have such heritage to fulfill, and all of you are all part of it, and I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud we can bring it all to you. Thank you.
Our next award goes to the radio station, WYAT. And WYAT, unless you have been living under a rock for the last 50 years, is a station that was WNNR, and before that, WJMR, which was the original Papa Stoppa station, from way back in the 50s when we all listened to it from sunrise to sunset. And here to accept the award for their contributions to NOMAA for 1990 is Mr. Ed Muniz, the owner of the station.
You know, very briefly, back in 1956, when I was going to St. Aloysius, for those of you who remember St. Aloysius, I was taking a class in science and I wasn't doing too well. And the brother told me, Brother Gabriel was his name, he said, why don't you go down to one of the radio stations and maybe you can have the engineer take you around and show you how a radio station works and to help you to do a little bit better because you're not doing too well in the class. So I asked somebody where was a radio station. They said, go down to the Jung Hotel. There's a radio station out there, WJMR. And go look around. Well, I walked down to Canal Street, walked over to the Young Hotel, and I went to WJMR, and I met a young guy by the name of Clarence Heyman, who most of you know as Papa Stopper. And, you know, I've been blessed. The Lord has been good to me. I've served on the Kenner Council and Jefferson Parish Council and formed Endymion and done a lot of things, but probably the person that's had more of an influence on my life than anybody I've ever met is that man that was behind the microphone that day in the Young Hotel. We've gotten to be good friends, and he really wanted to come tonight because this whole station he's still alive, but it's a memorial to him. And he wanted to be here tonight, but he really wasn't feeling very well. But he said to please invite him back at another time because he is really the biggest influence on my life and on many of us that are here tonight. Because I don't have to tell you what he did, but he was the blacks liked him, the whites liked him, the young liked him, the old liked him. It was the only radio station in America that probably never received the acclamation that it should. And I wish you were here tonight, but on his behalf, I thank everybody and keep listening to WYAT. Thank you.
And with that little speech that Eddie just gave, he pretty well took away everything I can say about Papa Stopper. Our last award here is for Papa Stopper. Now, as you know, all you sitting here, none of us probably be sitting here today had not been for him playing the music. He played all your records, all the time, and we all loved him. Well, we still do love him, he's still alive. But at any rate, Mr. Papa Stopper cannot be here tonight. He's feeling a little ill, but we do have a plaque for him. He is a unique individual. He is the Alan Freed of New Orleans. Matter of fact, he is the Alan Freed before Alan Freed was Alan Freed, in my opinion. But he contributed more to rock and roll than any single individual I've ever met. And I have an award here for him. I'm going to bring it to him personally. Thank you.
We have one more award here. It's to Eddie Roth. The reason that I'm telling you Eddie Roth because I want you to know a little bit about Eddie. Eddie first came to the NOMAA organization, first came to NOMAA when it wasn't even NOMAA. He came to Bootsy's house. He saw the excitement that was being generated. In fact, the next time he came, the second time, he brought his mother. Brought his wife and his mother, and she loved it because she was part of all this, and she had had rehearsals at our house, and you could sense the excitement with Eddie. When we grew and we started having extra funds, we incorporated. Eddie was part of that. He was part of the team that organized NOMAA as to what it is today. His first assignment was director of Benevolence, and he ran like hell with that. You people out there that are recipients of that, you know what I'm talking about. If he called, Eddie went there to you that night. And then if you needed money before we could meet, he hounded us to develop a slush fund to get you money quickly. He took over the presidency of our organization in January 1990. A very, very successful year, a very divided year. But he was there, and he was there all the way through December. In December, a very tragic thing happened to Eddie. He resigned. But he's here again tonight. I'd like you to welcome your friend and my very, very good friend, Eddie Roth.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here tonight, and I'll be short and brief. Recently, my wife and I did have a tragedy in our family, and I decided the best thing for me to do was to step back for a while. They have so many good people that belong to NOMAA that can help bring it forth. And we have not even scratched the surface yet of this wonderful organization. You know, it's something when competing radio stations can come here and sit next to each other and be friends and shake hands and wish each other well. And I'd like to also see that all of us as brothers and sisters here can also sit together, shake hands, and wish each other well. And I wish everybody here well. And good night and thank you.
You know, back in September of '90, just a few months back, to give you an idea, something about benevolence, because how important it is. It's what we're all about here. It wasn't originally planned that way. It was a get together and fun. But when you realize all the good that you do, it really hits home to you. Back in September, a man came into my business by the name of Philip Welcker. Philip was dying. He needed a liver transplant. He looked for help anywhere. I saw a man that was full of jaundice. He was yellow. His muscles in his stomach were weak. He was looking for help. He wasn't going out that easily. Billy Murray brought him in to me. You remember that, Billy? He brought him in. Your heart goes out to people like that. It doesn't end sad. In October, his wife came to our NOMAA dance. We presented him a check for $2,000 to help him. Many of you musicians also put a benefit on his behalf. He was in the hospital at the time and couldn't make it. But the story ends really nice because I want you to see Philip Welcker today. He's had his liver transplant. That little skinny guy full of jaundices, a nice plump guy, and he's so glad to be alive. I'd like you to say hello to Philip Welcker.
How y'all like that, huh? Number one, I'd like to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here. That comes first in my book. And number two is I'd like to thank Eddie, Mike, and all the rest of the members, board of directors of NOMAA, and the good friends and musicians I have out there who played on my behalf to raise additional money that I needed. And just for coming to my need, taking initiative, the time, their own time, to come through with a very, very serious, very expensive operation. And just to show you how good things go and the will to live, I'm here today to come here and thank everybody in person. And I plan on being around a long time if I have anything to do with it. The thing is, I'll put the band back together. The drums are sounding pretty good these days. And I promised Billy Bell I wouldn't have to sing. You know it's so hard. I'll do a 2-hour version. But once again, I also acknowledge the fact that I'd like to thank again my lovely wife who's been at my side through some very, very hard times. And she deserves something special. And I'm sure all y'all know this, and I know it from my heart and my soul. It's good people like you and members like the board of directors here for NOMAA who come together, like they said earlier, brothers and sisters, things like that. And it sure can take somebody who's sick and really down and picks them up a whole lot and puts you on a positive thinking track when you think things are really low and you don't know what you're going to do, how you're going to turn. It just picks you up so well, so good, and it gives you the will to live, and you're going to fight a little harder. And that's what makes people like me today can come here and talk about it, because they're still here on kind of that strength that other people will give you. And once again, I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart and soul. And I hope to see y'all all again and play for you one day too. Thank you.
Had a great success story. Okay, right, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, we got a dance coming up, February 24th. We're springing it on you now, letting you know. It's February 24th. It'll be at the Sheraton Hotel on Canal Street. Give you an idea how big this place is. The Imperial Ballroom, we could put it inside of this. It is really, really a beautiful place. There'll be a parking program. We have our usual $10 tickets. And the exciting news is that, and all of you know these guys well, they've accepted the Spotlight band for that day, February 24th. Jim Hutchinson and all his brothers, the Hutchinson brothers will be playing Spotlight with that group. Information will be going out to you the 1st of February. There are many, many special guests here tonight. We've introduced many of them, we've given awards. But you know something, and let's not kid one another. You're the stars of this show. Without you guys, without you ladies and gentlemen, there'd be no dances. There'd be no benevolence programs. There'd be no reunions. Let's unite 91. Let's get together. Let's unite and have fun in 91. Thank you and good evening. The bar is now open. We got music.